I'm just a regular dude trying to live quiet in Willow Creek, this sleepy suburb outside Charlotte. Bought my house cash 2 years back after my little tech startup finally popped off. Life was supposed to be simple, peaceful. And honestly, for the first week, it was perfect. Then I met Dale. Guy lives straight across the street. Cargo shorts. Wraparound shades. The type who looks like he audits people for fun. First words he ever said to me? Sweet truck, bro, bet that set you back a grip. No welcome. No introduction. Just straight pocket watching. I brushed it off, until his blinds started twitching every time I came home. He'd walk the dog the exact second I stepped outside, but the man didn't even own a dog. And one night, while I was grilling, I saw it. A quick flash, like a camera lens catching the light. I looked up. Dale yanked his curtain shut so fast it rattled. That's when I knew. This wasn't normal neighbor nosiness. This man was full-time watching me. But the next morning, Dale didn't hide anymore. He made his first move, and it crossed the line. You ever watch someone get bolder and bolder? Until you realize they're not scared of being caught. They want you to notice? At first, I thought maybe I was tripping. New place, new vibes. Maybe I was overthinking. Nope. Every single day just kept getting worse. I'd hit the gym and come home. And boom. Dale's outside pretending to check his mailbox for the 12th time. I'd take the trash out. And suddenly he's watering plants that were already drowning. Then one afternoon, I catch him crouched behind my side fence with actual binoculars. I yelled, "Yo Dale, you lost something?" He shot up like I hit him with 10,000 volts, mumbling about looking for his cat. Bro, Dale is allergic to cats. So that night, I slapped some cheap security cams around the house. Didn't expect much, just peace of mind. Instead, my phone started blowing up with motion alerts at 2, 3, 4 a.m. Every single clip? Dale creeping through my yard like a discount ninja. Slow, sneaky, acting like the grass had secrets. I could have called the cops. I could have ended it easy. But that felt boring. No. I wanted him to feel watched for once. I wanted him paranoid. Game on. And the very next day, Dale finally cracked. And what he did to get back at me was so insane, I realized this wasn't just spying anymore. This was war. You ever push someone just a little and watch them unravel way faster than you expected? I started small, just to test how jumpy Dale really was. Next morning, I blasted the loudest workout playlist I owned, threw every window open, and started doing burpees in the front yard at 6 a.m. sharp. 10 minutes in, his bedroom light snapped on. I waved like I was in a parade. Blinds. Slam. Shut. Later that day, I went even dumber on purpose. I ordered a 6-foot inflatable T-Rex costume and wore it while raking leaves. Took selfies. Posted them everywhere, with my exact address tagged. Dale peeked outside and looked like he'd just seen a prehistoric demon rise from the HOA. And that night, the cameras caught him pacing on his porch, staring at my house like he was trying to crack some kind of secret code. Perfect. Let him wonder what I knew. Let him lose sleep. Because I was just warming up. But the next stunt I pulled? That's when Dale finally snapped, and did something so out of pocket. Even I had to stop and say, "Okay, what is wrong with this man?" You ever push someone so far that every knock on their door becomes a full-blown heart attack? I signed Dale up for every free sample, catalog, and junk mail list known to mankind. Religious tracts, diaper samples, hearing aid brochures, stuff for seniors, babies, pets, every demographic except normal human. His mailbox started overflowing like a busted piñata. But I wasn't done. I stepped it up. Fake pizza orders, 10 large pepperonis every night at 11 p.m. Drivers banging on his door while he stood there in boxers, screaming he didn't order anything. Then came the masterpiece. One night, I paid a guy on Craigslist to deliver a single frozen turkey at 3 a.m. Just a turkey. With a note that said, "You know why." Dale came outside in slippers, holding that turkey like it was a live explosive. I watched the whole thing on my phone, sipping coffee, smiling like a villain. He wasn't sleeping anymore. You could see the bags under his eyes growing like mold. Exactly what I wanted. But Dale finally hit his breaking point, and the way he tried to fight back was so wild, it turned the whole neighborhood into a battleground. You ever mess with someone just enough that they start acting like the FBI is after them? Time to make him think he was in real trouble. I rented one of those unmarked white vans, the kind that already looks suspicious just sitting still. Then I slapped magnetic signs on the side. Carolina Property Surveillance. We're always watching. And I parked it right in front of Dale's house for 3 days straight. My buddy, black cap, sunglasses, full commitment, sat in the driver's seat pretending to take notes every time Dale peeked out. By day 2, Dale was closing every blind, every curtain, then taping cardboard over his windows like he lived in an apocalypse bunker. One afternoon, my camera caught him sneaking out the back in a hoodie, hunched over like a fugitive trying to flee the country. Bro, you live in the suburbs. Where exactly are you gonna hide? Behind the mailbox? In the recycling bin? He was cooked. Absolutely roasted from the inside out. But then Dale made his move, and what he did next wasn't just paranoid. It was dangerous. That's when things stopped being funny. You ever push someone so far that when a stranger knocks, they answer like it's Judgment Day? I wanted Dale to feel hunted, not just watched. So I hired 2 actors off backstage, clean-cut guys in cheap suits, earpieces, the whole, we look official but definitely bought this at Walmart vibe. I had them knock on Dale's door holding clipboards and stern faces. Their script was simple. They were federal agents, investigating suspicious nighttime activity in the area. And they needed to ask him a few questions about his habits. Kept everything vague enough to terrify him, but technically legal. Dale opened the door already sweating, eyes darting like he was calculating escape routes. His voice cracked as he said, I'm just a regular guy. The actors asked for his full name, wrote it down slowly, like every letter was a death sentence, then told him, "We'll be in touch." Door closed. Lights off. Curtains drawn. Dale didn't step outside for 4 straight days after that. And I'll be honest, a tiny part of me almost felt bad. Almost. But on day 5, Dale finally came out. And what he did next proved he wasn't just scared, he was unraveling. You ever watch someone's life fall apart in real time? And it all starts with a few signs in the yard? Now it was time to go after the one thing Dale worshipped more than his binoculars. His perfect lawn. I ordered 20 for sale bank foreclosure signs and paid a squad of teenagers $50 each to hammer them into his yard at 2 a.m. These kids worked like a tactical unit. No noise, no hesitation, just sign. Next morning, Dale bolts outside in his robe, screaming at the sky like God personally did this to him. He's ripping signs out of the grass with both hands, stumbling around like a furious raccoon. And then, the cherry on top, real estate agents started showing up, uninvited, walking right onto his lawn with clipboards and forced smiles. One couple even peered through his window asking if they could see the kitchen layout. Dale lost it. Started yelling at complete strangers like they were home invaders. HOA sent him letters. Neighbors started whispering. His precious, spotless suburban reputation? Gone. Shredded. Vaporized. And he knew it. But the next thing Dale did wasn't about pride. It was about survival. And that's when the game took a turn even I didn't expect. You ever scare someone so bad, they start hiding things you never even touched? I saved the best package for last. I ordered a life-size cardboard cutout of myself. Same height, same hoodie, same creepy smile. And had it delivered straight to Dale's porch with no note. My camera caught everything. He opened the box, saw my cardboard face, and literally stumbled backwards like he'd just witnessed the devil clocking in for a shift. Then he grabbed the cutout, dragged it inside so fast he wiped out over his own recycling bin. It was chaos, beautiful, ridiculous chaos. Later that night, my motion lights clicked on. There he was creeping across his driveway like a raccoon with a secret, carrying the cardboard version of me. He stuffed it into his garage like he was hiding evidence from a crime he didn't commit. I was crying laughing. But the truth? I still wasn't done. Not even close. Because the next move I made pushed Dale past fear, straight into full-blown panic. And that's when everything exploded. You ever mess with someone so perfectly that fear becomes their morning routine? I started leaving gifts on Dale's doorstep every single night. Day 10. A cheap security camera, pointed directly at his own front door. No explanación. No guayers. Just vibes. Day 11. A printed stack of his own Google search history. All public scrape info. But when it's sitting on your porch with your name on it, it hits different. Day 12. A flash drive labeled, "Footage do not watch alone." It was just raccoon clips, but he didn't know that. Let his imagination eat him alive. Every morning he'd open the door, freeze, then look straight across the street at my house like he was silently begging me to stop. And I'd just stand in my kitchen window, sipping coffee, giving him the biggest, brightest smile. His hands were shaking. His nerves were gone. Exactly where I wanted him. But the night he finally snapped, he didn't confront me. He went somewhere else. And that choice turned this whole prank war into something deadly. You ever watch someone unravel so completely, it feels like you're living inside their nightmare? By week 3, Dale looked homeless. Unkempt beard, hair everywhere, trash bags taped over the windows like he was preparing for a hurricane of demons. He jumped at every car door slam, every footstep, every shadow. So I dropped the hammer. I hired a drone guy, professional, smooth and absolutely shameless, to fly over Dale's house at random times, with a banner that read, "We see you, Dale." First flight was 7 a.m. on a Saturday. Drone cam caught him sprinting out of his house in boxers, staring at the sky and screaming, "Who is this?" And the neighbors? Oh, they came outside filming. Within hours, the clip went viral on the neighborhood Facebook group. People were laughing, calling him Sky Patrol Dale, Binocular Boy, the watcher getting watched. The comment section was brutal, but I wasn't done. No. I had saved the final blow for tomorrow night. Something Dale would never unsee. Ever. Because tomorrow night, I stopped playing games. And what I did made Dale finally snap in a way I did not see coming. You ever push someone so far that the moment they see you, even the fake you, they completely shatter? I went all in for the finale. Ordered 20 more life-size cardboard cutouts of myself. Same creepy smile. Same hoodie. Same stare that follows you like a cursed painting. Then I paid the same group of teenagers to sneak into Dale's backyard at 3 a.m. and set them all up, facing his bedroom windows. Like an army of me, just silently watching. A whole platoon of nightmares. At sunrise, my phone exploded with motion alerts. I checked the live feed, and oh man, Dale opened his blinds. Saw 20 versions of me grinning back at him. And the man screamed like he woke up in a horror movie. He stumbled backward, knocked over a lamp, hit the floor, and then he started crying. Actual tears. Full meltdown. He was done. Cooked. Emotionally deep-fried. And I felt zero pity. Not a drop. Because I still had one last package arriving by Federal Express. The one thing guaranteed to break him for good. And when that final package arrived, Dale didn't scream. He didn't cry. What he did instead. That's when everything took a turn I never expected. Ever see a man break so completely that even breathing looks like it hurts? For the setup to my midnight finale, I needed Dale's brain already half melted. So I hired a fake process server, cheapest suit I could find, tie crooked like he dressed in a moving car, to show up at Dale's door with a manila envelope. Inside? Perfectly formatted, official-looking court documents. Dale Whitaker versus John Doe. Invasive surveillance and emotional distress. Seeking $850,000 in damages. Total garbage. Printed at the library. But the legalese? Clean. The stamps? Convincing. The weight of the paper? heavy enough to feel expensive. Dale opens it right on his porch, reads 2 lines, and just sits down, right there on the steps, head in his hands. He doesn't move for a full hour. Neighbors walking their dogs slowed down, staring at him like he was a monument to pure defeat. I watched from my window, sipping sweet tea, feeling like a supervillain on my day off. And the best part? He thought this was the climax. But the real finale? That was scheduled for tonight at midnight. Because when the clock hit 12, and my final plan snapped into place, I realized there was one outcome I never prepared for. Ever seen a grown man watch his own humiliation in 4K, projected on a 20-foot screen, directly at his house? At exactly 12:01 a.m., I hit play on the biggest outdoor movie screen in Charlotte, set up right in my front yard, facing Dale's windows. And the moment the speakers boomed, the whole neighborhood woke up. Every clip of Dale creeping in my yard, zoomed in, slowed down, and set to dramatic movie trailer music, lit up the street like a premiere night. The title card hit. Dale Whitaker, The Night Walker. People came outside wearing robes, pajamas, holding mugs like it was a midnight show. Dale ripped open his front door, froze on his porch, and just stared at a 20-foot-tall version of his own face, exposed in 4K. Mouth open. Silent. Completely broken. That's when I knew I had him. But what happened after that? Let's just say, the neighborhood still talks about what Dale did next. Imagine calling out your stalker, in front of the entire neighborhood, while his tears are going viral in real time. I paused the video on the clearest shot, Dale holding binoculars behind my fence like some dollar store detective. Then I grabbed a wireless mic, walked right to the edge of my yard, and said loud enough to echo across the street, "Hey Dale, enjoy the show?" Everything went silent. You could have heard a pin drop. And that's when it happened. Dale just collapsed. Sat on his porch steps and started crying full-on, shaking, shoulders slumped, like a kid caught stealing lunch money. Phones came out instantly. Within minutes, videos were everywhere, Facebook groups, neighborhood pages, TikTok edits. By sunrise, he was the #1 post on every local subreddit. And the best part? He didn't even know I had one last surprise sitting quietly inside his mailbox. And when he opened that mailbox the next morning, that was the moment Dale finally snapped. Ever ruined someone so badly they stayed up all night watching their own downfall in 4K? I left one thing in his mailbox, a single USB drive labeled, "The full movie 4 hours." Taped a note to it, "Watch it alone." Inside was every second of footage I'd ever taken of him, stitched together with the ticking countdown clock in the corner. And he did watch it. How do I know? Because at 3 a.m., my hidden porch cam caught him through the window, sitting on his couch, face glowing from the screen, rocking back and forth like a man waiting for his own verdict. Next morning, his wife's car was gone. Rumor says she packed the bags while he slept and didn't say a word. Dale hadn't stepped outside in 4 straight days. But me? I still had one last move, one final push. And this final move wouldn't just break Dale. It would make the whole neighborhood take my side. You ever watch a man lose his mind from phone calls alone? I put his house on every real estate spam list in the country. Zillow, Redfin, private investors. Within hours his phone was blowing up with strangers yelling, "We can buy your house cash today." Then I took it up a level. Paid for a moving truck to park in front of his place for 2 straight days with Dale and family, long distance move. Painted huge on the side. Neighbors started coming by, asking if he was skipping town, whispering like he was running from a crime. You could see the pressure crushing him, inch by inch. Dale wasn't just stressed. He was unraveling. And all he needed was one more nudge, one final hit, to break completely. Ever push someone so far that their own neighborhood turns into a stage, and they're the star of everyone's laughter? I decided to make Dale a legend in Willow Creek, but not in the way anyone would want. I hired a billboard truck to drive through the neighborhood. On loop, a 10-foot photo of Dale creeping behind my fence, binoculars in hand. The caption? "Willow Creek's peeping Tom says hi." By the second pass, kids were pointing. Parents were laughing. Phones were out, filming, whispering, chuckling. Some jokers even made t-shirts and posted them online. Dale stopped answering his door altogether. Curtains stayed tightly shut. Trash started piling up in his yard. Mail stacked higher than his sanity. Neighbors whispered behind their hands. Even the HOA started circling like vultures, curious if he was okay, or just losing his mind. It wasn't just embarrassment anymore. This was psychological warfare. Every corner he turned, every eye in the neighborhood was on him. And then I dropped the final blow. The one thing that made him pack up for real. One last move executed so perfectly that Dale didn't even hesitate. He left fast with everything he owned. And when he disappeared, the street felt quieter. But the legend of Dale Whitaker, that would never die. Ever watch someone's world collapse overnight and realize you just orchestrated it? I knew it had to be perfect, the ultimate finale. Dale had survived everything else. The cardboard cutouts, the drones, the moving trucks, the billboards. But one thing he loved more than anything in Willow Creek? His lifted Tacoma. That truck was his pride, his armor, his morning flex. So I waited until the middle of the night. No witnesses. No warning. Just absolute silence. I called a towing company and gave them a simple instruction. Hook up the Tacoma and take it for repossession. Don't leave anything behind except the message. They did exactly that. By 4 a.m., the truck was gone. Vanished. And in its place, I left a printed sign pinned to the empty driveway. Payment overdue, Dale. Stop watching people and pay your bills. Simple words. Heavy consequence. Perfect execution. I imagine Dale waking up that morning, rubbing his eyes, sleep still stuck in his lashes. He walks outside in his socks, yawning, only to find nothing. His truck? Gone. His pride? Shattered. The sign stared back at him, mocking, accusing. And then it happened. He collapsed in the driveway, sinking to the ground like the weight of 1,000 pranks had physically crushed him. Shoulders shaking, hands trembling, tears running freely down his face. Neighbors peeked from behind blinds, trying to pretend they weren't watching, but they were. Everyone was. The chaos he'd caused, the paranoia he'd lived under, it all came crashing down at once. By the time the cops arrived for a welfare check, Dale hadn't moved. He was still curled on the concrete, the driveway cold beneath him, sobbing in silence. The officers knocked, called his name, tried to coax him up. But it was like trying to wake someone from a nightmare they didn't want to leave. That was it. No fight. No retaliation. No comebacks. Dale Whitaker had finally broken. And when the news spread across Willow Creek, neighbors whispered in awe and disbelief. Some laughed. Some shook their heads. But everyone agreed on one thing. The man who had watched everyone else so obsessively had finally been watched. And the lesson was clear. That night, the street was quieter. His windows were dark. His blinds were forever closed. That was the last time anyone in Willow Creek ever saw Dale Whitaker. And while Dale disappeared, the legend of the Peeping Tom lived on. An unforgettable warning of what happens when you push someone too far, and the tables finally turn. Ever watch someone leave their life behind, and realize the game was finally over? 3 days later, a real moving truck rolled up. Not a joke this time. No pranks. No setups. Just boxes, straps, and the sound of engines humming against the quiet morning. Dale's wife stepped out first, directing traffic like a drill sergeant, eyes sharp, clipboard in hand. Dale followed behind, moving boxes from the house into the truck. Head down. Shoulders slumped. Not a word to anyone. Not even a glance at the neighbors who had been watching his slow unraveling for weeks. I stayed on my porch, coffee in hand, the steam rising like the morning sun. Everything was calm, peaceful, the kind of calm that only comes after chaos. Then for a fleeting moment, Dale finally looked up. Eyes red and glassy from sleepless nights and stress, defeated, hollow. I raised my mug in a quiet, small salute. A simple gesture. a nod to the absurdity of everything. He caught it. And then he looked away. Fussed. Head back down, hands gripping the boxes like they were the only anchor left in his life. The moving truck rolled down the street, leaving the house empty, quiet, final. By the end of the week, the house was officially on the market. Price: $80,000 under asking. And within 4 days a young couple, friendly, waving as they pulled in, bought it. People who actually smiled, who said hello, who didn't have binoculars or a drone. The perfect closure to an epic, bizarre chapter in Willow Creek history. Dale Whitaker was gone. His reign of paranoia, spying, and awkward suburban drama, finally over. And as I sipped my coffee that morning, I knew one thing for certain. Sometimes the best revenge isn't loud or violent. Sometimes it's just perfectly executed patience. And that, my friends, is how one man learned the hard way. Never underestimate the quiet guy with a plan and a little bit of imagination. Ever realize that quiet really is the sweetest revenge? Now my cameras catch only deer wandering through the yard, and the occasional Amazon driver delivering packages. The neighborhood? Quiet again. Peaceful. Sometimes I grill steaks in the backyard, watching the empty house across the street, and I smile. Because Dale Whitaker learned the hard way. Spy on the wrong guy, and you don't just lose your secrets, you lose everything. And let me tell you, peace and quiet tastes a lot sweeter when you've earned it, step by step, prank by prank, plan by plan. But a little voice in the back of my head still chuckles. If any new neighbor ever gets curious with binoculars, peeks behind their curtains, or thinks they can watch me, I still got that inflatable T-Rex in the garage. Standing by. Waiting. Ready for round 2. And that, my friends, is the story of how patience, creativity, and a touch of mischief can turn the tables forever. So remember, some neighbors just want to watch the world go by. But the right neighbor? He's watching you back. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to comment below and tell us your thoughts or share a story of your own. Visit our channel for more powerful, emotional, and vengeful tales like this.